It was a busy week in sports, and there is plenty to look forward to and a lot to talk about. For more, we are joined by sports analyst Meeker Guerrier. Hey, Meeker.
How you doing, Matt?
Great. Let's start off with the Toronto Blue Jays. They are having a very successful season so far. It's October baseball, and the playoffs are starting.
Yeah, exactly. It is a good thing that the Blue Jays were able to clinch the first place in their division because they had a nice lead for the past couple of weeks, but then the Yankees catched up. But finally, the Blue Jays were able to make it. But as their manager said, some people think they did it the hard way, but they did it the right way because they made it at the end of the season, so they'll have a few days off before starting their playoff run, and which is a good thing because you have Bichette who is hurt and he might be able to come back, and that team will be able to rest a little bit. And I think that the rest is important physically, but also emotionally after the season marathon of 162 games.
Switching over to cycling now, a Quebecer, Magdalene Valliere, had an outstanding performance recently.
Amazing what she did. She became the first ever Canadian to win a race at that level on road cycling at the Road Cycling Worlds. Her performance in Kigali was simply amazing. It's a major surprise, and it seems like we're seeing more and more surprises like that in Canadian sports. And I think it is important to talk about sports financing here in Canada. We have great athletes having great performances on the international stage, but we need to support them maybe a little bit more. And in the case of Magdalene, it's just Magdalene Valliere. It's just amazing what she did. So congrats to her. And I hope we follow her a little bit more in the next few years.
Certainly. Switching now to rugby. Canada women's rugby won a silver medal at the World Cup. They lost in the final to the #1 team in the world, England. But this is no doubt a good sign, right, for the future of rugby in Canada.
Great sign, because a lot of people were talking about a Cinderella story, but people seem to forget that they are #2 in the world right now. So the women rugby team is a great team as well, and to me, they'll certainly be probably at the end of the year, they'll win the Team of the Year award. And we have to underline also Sophie de Goody, who was nominated Women's World Rugby Player of the Year. And that also is another extraordinary performance by her, but also by another Canadian athlete. And I keep on saying that 2025 is women's sports year. And I think that even more here in Canada, because financing obviously is an issue, as I said, but the fact that women are supported here by Canadians and by our government as well, and sports associations all around the country, well, it helps women to thrive, but I think we can do even better.
The Montreal Canadiens have won 3 out of their 4 preseason games. What are your thoughts on the team so far?
Well, first of all, Matt, who cares about preseason games, right? About who wins or who loses. But I think what's important is to see how that team is evolving. The fact that now that team with only 2 games left in preseason, that team seems a little tougher. It needs a little bit more grit with what happened in the playoffs last year against Washington. It was hard for the Habs to perform with their offensive potential because that team was maybe a little too small, maybe not tough enough, and so on. But now in those preseason games, we see that the Canadians have those elements here and there that can support the offensive cast. I think that personally, we just saw images from Lane Hudson. He's ready for the year. He'll be probably one of the best, if not the best asset of the Montreal Canadiens. But it'll be a very interesting season because they want to make the playoffs, but nothing is guaranteed in the NHL today. So it's going to be a hard-fought season. But I'm looking forward to seeing them start the season next week against I was going to say the Blue Jays, but the Maple Leafs. And in that game also in Quebec City tomorrow against Ottawa should be interesting as well for hockey in La Belle Province.
Yeah, it should be a very exciting season for the Habs. Meeker Guerrier, thank you so much for doing this today.
You're welcome, Matt. Talk to you soon.